let me tell you a story about my university days to sort of illustrate this point. So, in my first year at university, I like when I went to university, it was basically when people didn't realize the sort of gravity of the cost of university or how universities were becoming a business. We'd only recently got rid of it all being grants, it was just gimme. So instead of getting one of those, you were getting loans, but it hadn't really sunk into anybody. I went to uni with a lot of fucking reprobates, and it was a much more interesting landscape at university back then because of that reason. You had people who were going to escape working class backgrounds. Now, unfortunately, the only people who can really afford are, very hardworking middle class people, or the, middle to upper class people, or just upper class people. Very rare you see working class people, what I would consider, genuine working class people going to university anymore because it's unbelievably expensive. Not really worth it at the end of the day. Like I say, as I found out, I went to university straight back to the call center after I left. No problem there. So is this when I get the good job now? Nah, fuck off. You are back to doing what you were doing before and what you could have been 5 years ahead in had you stayed. So anyway, when I went to university, there was all sorts of crazy people. I knew a guy called Noah who took all of his money and just ran away to Thailand. Good for him.
Guy.
Don't know ever what happened to him, but he had long hair, and I remember asking him one day, like if he was a rocker and all that, and we got talking, and we had some similar tastes in music, and then like I said, we built this rapport, and I said, when you came to this university, I did all right academically. I got like 4 Bs or whatever it was at A level. What do you have? And he said, I've got an O level in French and a forklift truck driver's license.
And a dream.
And it was on the same. And his dream was wait until he had the biggest loan, plus a bursary, plus a grant, plus a bank loan, plus a credit card, and then he fled the country and went to Thailand. And
what a legend.
Seen again. So maybe Noah's out there. Maybe Noah's going to get in touch with.
There's a lesson we learned in that, mate.
Oh no! I learned the lesson.
You gotta get the fuck out.
I started doing the exact same thing for like terms at a time. I used to tell all my lecturers, "Come on, let's be real. We know I'm gonna. If I send the essays in, I don't need to be in the seminars. Just mark me as if I was there." And we had a secret handshake agreement about it because they liked me, so I got away with it. Anyway. So I met loads of interesting characters. There was none more interesting than a guy, and I won't give his full name, but I do need to give his first name for the story to work. And he was called Ben. Now Ben was a really cool guy, like really nice, gentle soul. Me and him used to have lots of talks about Buddhism and philosophy and all of this. And when I went to university, I decided that I was going to pay my way through part-time jobs. Yes, as I worked as a doorman or a bouncer, whatever you want to call it. But I also took my loan, all 2,000, 3,000, whatever it was, and I went to a local drug dealer and I bought a bin bag full of weed, just low. I just bought a bin bag full of weed.
I'm all in, actually, mate.
Yeah, no, listen.
That is literally the metaphorical of just pushing all your chips into the middle of the table. There you go.
This is absolutely true.
All that for nugs, please.
I went to his house with. I went to my bank and I withdrew all the money I had in cash. This is all true, I swear. And I just peeled.
I've made some shit decisions. This is unreal.
And I pulled off about 200 notes and thought, that'll do me because I'll be selling this, won't I? And the money will start raining in. And I went down to where we knew this guy was doing homegrown, super strong homegrown, and red beard, I think it was called at the time because it was that orangey type. And I said to him, I went in, he had hydroponics out the back of the house. And I went in, I said, "You all right, mate? A friend told me about that you're selling weed." And he was like, "How much do you want?" And I threw a wedge on a table, and I said, "I want as much as you will sell me for that $3,000 or whatever. So he took a trash bag and he just started filling it up. I cleaned him out, basically. He still had some plants growing for had some personal use, but basically no one else was buying any weed from that guy for some time, and I had cornered the market in one fell swoop. It was the art of the deal, right? So I remember slinging it over my shoulder like a demented Santa Claus, and I went back to campus, literally carrying it. I walked past the local police station to get to campus. Just didn't give a fuck. Like, this is rural Wales, everybody. So I got to campus, and one of the things that I used to do was I would sit up and I would smoke weed with Ben, and we would talk about, philosophy and other esoteric concepts, and we would be absolutely battered. And Ben was great. And then, because university starts in September, right? So we got to October. Now, by October, I was skint. We smoked it all, hadn't we? I hadn't sold any. And there was, even if I had sold more, there wasn't really any way to reinvest. Basically, what I realized was I'd pretty much bankrupted myself for the rest of my university life in one glorious, hazy 3-week high. I mean, it was mad. Like, I barely remember that period of time. I mean, like, I'd literally, it was gone. Because I was, me, I'm a generous guy. So it was literally like people would come over and go, "You got any weed, mate?" You'd be like, "Yeah, I got." Yeah, just ripping out huge clumps of weed out of this trash bag. It's gonna go off anyway, isn't it? It's gonna go moldy, so we may as well smoke it all. And then I'd wake up and be like, "Where's all the weed gone?" Smoked it all, didn't I, to stop it going moldy? So anyway,
stop it going moldy. That's so you got too much fun. That's a worry. Fucking hell.
Straight up, dog. This is all legit. Never told this story before, I don't think, on a stream, but this is all true. Right? So anyway, so that's why you're telling us all of this, Richard. So that's just to give you an idea of how much weed we'd smoked. And then it got to Halloween, didn't it? And for Halloween, we all had a nice active bunch. We had another guy called Ben. He looked just like Jesus. I mean, literally like Jesus. And he used to walk for Halloween. We always even used to call him Jesus. This is years before The Walking Dead. And for Halloween, he wore a cross and he offended the Christian Society. He got called a blasphemer. I went as Freddy Krueger. I had a black and red jumper and a very convincing Freddy Krueger mask. And Ben, right? Ben went as Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon. Now, it was perfect. We used to nickname him Ming because he looked like Ming. He had a bald head and a droopy mustache. He was one of those philosopher types. And we've been calling him Ming like all the time. It was his nickname. Somebody said, "Oh, you look like Ming the Merciless." And that was it. Ming just stuck. So between, September, all that onwards, right? We get to Halloween and he says, "I'm going to go as Ming." Of course he is. He looks like Ming. So it's Halloween. Freddy, Jesus, Ming the Merciless. Ming the Merciless comes out. He's done a fucking brilliant job, mate. I wish I still had photos of this. He's glued tin foil to his bald head, like an helmet, right? He's got the droopy mustache. He's painted himself head to foot in green. He's got, which Ming wasn't even green. But,
just did it anyway.
But he just did it anyway, because in the comics, he was green. Max von Sydow in the film, not green. But you can see that black helmet he's got on. That we did that with tin foil. And he bought this mad fuck off cape, like trench coat combination, and a cane. We were buckled, mate. We were buckled. And we went out and we had a legendary Halloween party, one for the ages. Still remember it to this day. We got absolutely fucked up. We were all battered. I think somebody had, some pills. There was a little bit of green left. It was a good time, right? Anyway, the next day we've got lectures and I'm fucking, no pretend, I'm minging myself. I'm on a come down, but I got to go. I know I got to go because, again, like, it was 15% of your grade. You're leaving 3 marks on the table. All you have to go is sit down and sign a fucking piece of paper and just sit there for an hour. So I turn up And fucking Ming walks into the lecture. Ben walks into the lecture, and he's still dressed as Ming. He's still dressed as Ming, mate. He's still green. He's still got the tin foil on his head. He's still got the cape. He's still got the cane, right? Sat next to me, and he had this mad cheeser, mate. When he grinned, like, funny thing, he had huge teeth, like, and I was like, "You mate? You right?" So anyway, like, I was buckled. I'm going, "Oh, you haven't been home and showered?" And he was just like, "Yeah, but whatever." And I was like, "All right, whatever. I'm gonna hang over." And we're passing the paper around and signing it, right? And I sign my name, and I pass it to Ben, and Ben signs his name Benjamin instead of Benjamin. Benjamin.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like, right, don't think nothing of it. Anyway, go home, sleep it off, wake up again. Want to get on the gear, want to get on the lash. It's the first year at uni. Wait, oi, oi. Ben comes out of his room. He's still Ming. He's still Ming, mate. It's like
we're
that.
Getting worried now.
Yeah, now we are getting worried. And I say to him, Ben, mate, I don't. Do you want to? Is the costume going to come off anytime soon? And he was like, going, no, actually, I think I like being Ming.
He's lost his mind.
So we're like, well, yeah, I suppose, mate. Whatever, it's uni, you know. And anyway, we got locked into this spiral of like strange shit going on. We used to get our essays back, right, in the pigeonholes. We used to get our essays back in the pigeonholes, and we'd take them back. And I used to bring everyone's back in the dorm, you know, because it was a fair trek. You had to go up a hill to get them if you were doing any philosophy or classics modules. And I used to get everyone's essays and bring them back, right? And I looked at, I got one for Ben, and I walked back, and it was red pen all over it, mate. Right? Yeah. And we had two assignments. We had to do, what was it? I think it was Plato's Republic and Philosophy of Dreams were the two modules. And what Ben had decided to do was take the two separate essays from two completely separate courses and combine them into one. Right? And he called it Medusa and the Bees. And it wasn't an essay. It was a big poem.
It was the scrawlings of a madman.
Yeah. And I looked at the back page, and you know how you meant to put a bibliography page? It says bibliography, and you say, which you've used. His just said Love and Kisses Too. And it was the name of the lecturer. Love and Kisses instead of a bibliography. Red pen on the back page. Ben, we are seriously concerned. We don't think you take your academic progress very seriously. Please come and see me. So I give it to Ben, and I'm like, Ben, mate, sorry, Ming, what were you thinking when you wrote that essay? And he started explaining to me, and again, this is so vivid to me because it was like I was watching a descent into madness before my eyes. And he went, yes. You see, the television, as you call it, is a lot like Medusa. One look, and you are turned to stone. Yeah, Ben, mate, what's that got to do with Plato's? What's going on? So I decided to call up his folks, right? And we had a little chat. And apparently, Ben had all sorts of mental health problems. And he'd been in a institution when he was younger. And he'd suffered all his life with schizophrenia and everything. And apparently the last time he had a breakdown was he did a bunch of LSD. And he just sort of never fully came back from it. But he got to a position where, as a young adult, you know, his family all felt comfortable sending him to university, smoking all that skunk that I bought and fed to him without knowing. Every time, oh, Ben, have another joint, mate. Come on, man up.
Grow up, have a bong it. Come on.
Have a bucket, Ben, pushing his head.
Get your lungs up.
Yeah, man up, budgie lungs. All of that. Probably, we don't know for sure, but it probably contributed, didn't it? Well, I didn't know. I thought he was just a normal, healthy geezer. So anyway, one day we were just I was up in my girlfriend's, who was on the top floor of, the bird I was seeing at the time. I was up on the top floor and having a look out the window, and a van came and literally took him away, mate. Still dressed as Ming. This is true. Still dressed as Ming. But he was still streaked green for months, mate. So they took him away. It was pretty traumatic. He didn't want to go, you know.
I am.
But it was the best thing. It was for the best. So after this must have been next year. All the old crew, we'd moved into houses now. We weren't in halls anymore. And all the old crew wanted to, you know, check on him again. And I called up and hello, it's Richard, Ben's mate from uni. Immediately got hung up on. So this was a job for Gentle Jesus, the other Ben, who always had a more kind of, how should we say, just likable nature about him than I did back then. He was a gentle soul. So he called up, and then he came back in the room and basically said, yeah, Ben's okay, but his parents have said he can never have contact with anyone from this university again, because as far as he's concerned, this was all a bad dream and it never happened. So there you go. So don't know why I told all of that, but 69th episode, wanted to do something special. Turns out, you know, if you do have underlying conditions, stay away from the skunk,
from
mate.
The good shit.
I don't know what he's doing these days. He's not on Facebook. I've had a look. Both
Probably
Ben
straight
and
bouncing off the walls, mate.
I know. But there you go. So that is the story. People are going like, yeah, you're right. It was the original didn't happen. Like, but unfortunately, did happen for him. Didn't happen. Had to be that way. Because imagine if you had to live your life knowing that you smoked so much weed, you became Ming the Merciless. Yeah, like
Green Ming.
Have you ever been so stoned you became a cartoon villain? Like, it's mad.
What are you doing after smoking this? Turning into Ming forever.
Yeah.